So here we are online for Stump The Strategist. Today you've got two strategists on stage. I'm Adam Long, General Manager at Step Change Marketing.
Iven Frangi.
Iven Frangi, we're really glad to have as our very first guest on our bi-weekly seminar series. Of course, Iven's not new to Stump The Strategist, fresh off joining us for our 24-hour Stump The Strategist marathon, which we ran just over 2 weeks ago.
That was exciting. That was a blast.
I'm glad you found it exciting because I found it pretty
How many
intense.
strategies did we end up doing?
The end number was 113 strategies in 24 hours past. And we're actually stumped on one as well. This is Stump the Strategist. You do get to vote whether we were stumped or passed at the end. So for those of you joining us for the first time, here's how today works. We're going to take any question on marketing, communications, or on Iven's specialty, which is customer experience, emotional branding, and really bringing that connection with customers to life. We're going to take your questions. We're going to put 9 minutes on the clock up here, and in 9 minutes, build you a strategy to solve that problem. We'll share with you the tools and the models. Iven's got his whiteboard marker.
Ready to go.
Ready to go. At the end, you get to vote whether we were stumped or passed. Now, 9 minutes, it's a little bit foolhardy. Some have said it's like walking that fine line between bravery and stupidity. Look, others have said this is a little bit like the Gruen transfer meets whose line is it anyway, and a little bit of Mr. Scribble. We're going to do our best to solve your questions as they come through. So, for those of you watching, it looks like we've got about 30 people joining us online. You can submit your questions using the questions panel on the GoToWebinar system there. Or, for those of you who are still working in the 1990s for IT, email us at stumpme@stepchangemarketing.com. That's stumpme@stepchangemarketing.com. Let's see if you can stump Ivan. All right. Now, we've got time for 2 questions today. Only 2 of your chewiest, nuttiest, crunchiest marketing challenges. We'll be back again next year though. Every 2 weeks you'll have your chance to stump us once again. So our lovely, ravishingly beautiful technical assistant, Dave, is just off screen. Dave, are we ready with any questions online?
We've got a few here.
Yep.
We can either wait for a few more people to join or we can kick us off.
Let's go for whatever we got. Ready to go.
Great, let's launch into it then. So, first question. So I've got a really nice cafe in Potts Point that does all organic things, from muffins to coffee to even the serviettes. So a lot of places say and feel organic, but don't do it like we do. How do we differentiate ourselves and get customers in the door? Oh, and I have very little time extra to spend on marketing outside of my currently already busy day.
Classic. All right, so just to repeat the question there, sorry, do we have a name for who it's from?
No name here, just a goofy email address.
All right, well, we won't read that out. So the question is, it's a cafe in Potts Point in Sydney that's really focusing on organic. Sounds like everything was organic, even down to the muffins and the serviettes there. For each of those, we're looking to how do we differentiate the business and how do we get more customers in the door. Right, so that's nice and clear. Iven, do you have any clarifications?
No, I think it's pretty good.
Great, let's get 9 minutes on the clock and we're off and away. So, look, the first thing I want to start with is questioning this idea of differentiation right from the start. Because when you look at cafes, certainly there's a lot of cafes out there. There's also a lot of cafes that are different, but are novel, but they're not sticky. They're not getting customers to come back again and again. And for a business like yours, the game here isn't so much differentiation, it's loyalty. When someone comes to see you, how do you make sure they come back to you again and again and again? So I wonder whether differentiation is so much your marketing challenge as it is loyalty and the smart money in marketing, the smart time, because as you said, people aren't feeling like they've got plenty of time to spend on marketing. The smart marketing is on loyalty. How do you get customers to come back again and again? So look, I'm going to put some thought into that. Looks like Iven's ready to go with some stuff as well.
Look, I think this comes down to 3 sections, and when you're building a customer experience, there are 3 parts. The value you offer the client, the advocacy they're going to create, which is exactly what Adam was talking about, and then your differentiation. We're going to leave differentiation out for a minute. So I've got a question before we even start this, and you said you're in Potts Point, so I'm going to ask you a question that relates directly to what happens in Victoria Avenue, Victoria Street it is actually. Are you good? And one of the things that I find with people who have a particular passion for something, like they're organic or they're in coffee, it's coffee beans grown using
the origin
ethical
story.
marketing and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Sometimes what gets missed is good. And if you have a look at Messina, which is a ice cream shop just down the road in Victoria Street, you can't get in there without forming a queue. And the answer is they're just bloody good. So the question I have for you is your food really fantastic? Now, organic food can be brilliant. I'm sure yours is good. My question is it fantastic? And the reason I ask that is when you're looking at advocacy, which is what you're really talking about, advocacy comes down to three things: referrals, repeat business, and reviews. So, referrals, that's what you're after, and I was going to talk about that. Repeat business, that's what you're going to talk about. What I want to talk about is, can you build the community by having them give you positive reviews with all the little stars, so that when people are Googling you, as 89% of people will do before they go anywhere near you, you are getting positive responses from other people. It's called social proof, otherwise known as trust. So, that's where I started.
Great. Look, the community one's quite interesting. It's just sparked a thought for me as well. One of the ways you can reach out to the local community is through partners, people who are already talking to the types of customers that might be interested in this organic story. Look, the first one that comes to mind is Harris Farm. I know there's a Harris Farm in Potts Point. Can you align a partnership with them where they're happy to give out a discount card with every person that buys there? Make sure you're turning up everywhere. Another one is GoGet. So people who are using cars, these share car schemes, there's GoGet, there's Green Car Share. The common theme here is sharing a car for environmental reasons. The people using these services are also going to be interested in your organic story. So thanks, Ivan. You just prompted some new thought there. But let's go back to this concept of loyalty, the repeat business that Ivan's put in his model here. The classic one in coffee shops is the coffee card, right? Buy 9, you get 1 free. Now, the challenge there is these are rapidly getting replaced by these digital versions where 1 card will work anywhere. Now, that's great for the customer. That's really bad news for you because that loyalty card is no longer about being loyal to the one place. It's, hey, you can be loyal to everywhere, which means you're loyal to nowhere. So your job is to turn that around. When everybody's doing the same thing, you want to look to do something a little bit different. Instead of rewarding loyalty and repeat coming back again, what if you surprise and delight? When you give a coffee for free just because you recognise them as having walked in earlier that week, that is more powerful than getting them to stamp a card or hold it up against the QR reader. Look, the other part of this is service fundamentals. Now, I'd like to think we didn't have to talk about customer service fundamentals anymore, but the reality is most cafes aren't doing it. And it's things like, what's the wait time from the moment you step into your cafe until someone looks you in the eye and says hello? What's the wait time before you get some water or a coffee order? Excuse me. And do you have things like bag handles under the table so people can hang their handbags instead of having to put it on the floor? Look, the only way to work out what all the fundamentals are that are missing in your business is to do a step through from the perspective of your customer. Walk in the doors fresh. Walk in as if you've never been in your own cafe before and start to measure some of these things. What happens every step of the way? And then compare it to the places you've been to where the service has been outstanding. Because if you get the service right, if you surprise and delight, you'll give people a reason to come back, which is that you're really, really good.
I've got an example of this, and I know this area very well because my father started a restaurant in Macleay Street, Potts Point in 1956 and had one of the first pizzerias in Australia, one of the first espresso machines before anybody else had one. So food and understanding this is my stuff. So here's my question for you. I think you need to develop a bit more of a community. In your community, if I were you, I'd be having a look at something like Taste and Test. And Taste and Test would be, we've got this new thing, what do you think about it? Can we give you a little taste of it, and then you can vote on it to see whether or not it's something we're actually going to include in the menu. Now, take the tip from the Mona Museum in Tasmania, where they get everybody who visits to rate their exhibits, and then that determines what they put in. And usually, if people like the exhibit too much, they take it away. But let me give you an example of this. I was doing some work, and I came across, for a food group, and there was a cafe in Darling Street in Balmain, and here's what happened. Down the road we had the Starbucks, the big brand, empty. Then 4 doors down the road, we had women sitting on milk crates right next to a rubbish bin with kids everywhere. The place was packed. Why? Because of the differentiation of experience. And it wasn't to do with the service. In fact, the service wasn't that flash. But here's what happened. There was a little Italian guy behind the counter. And every time somebody came in, and it was full of women, by the way, so he was working his Italian mojo. Every time women came in, oh, buongiorno, signorina, come and see, oh, nice to see you today. My Italian accent's really bad. But what he did was, he included everybody and had fun and play. His service wasn't actually that good because the place was so full he was having trouble getting to people. But his acknowledgement and his first interaction with people was so good, and he remembered people's names and faces. That was the other big thing. You talked about fundamentals.
Yeah.
Sometimes it doesn't have to be that much, but people want that. In my father's restaurant, he spoke 9 languages fluently, and just about everybody that came in he could speak to. And he kissed the ladies on the hand in the early 50s and 60s, and that place lasted longer than everywhere else because people went, I want to go back for that. That's what I want to go back for. The food was good, but they wanted to go back for the experience.
Great. So I want to go back to the original part of your question, because you asked for something about how do I make the organic really stand out, how do I differentiate. So if we isolate now that part of the question, I just want to say that the thing you need to be doing is be remarkable. And when we say remarkable, we mean this really literally. Will people talk about you after the fact? Now there's a number of ways you can do that. One is actually getting your staff to ask if they can recommend friends to us. The reason people don't refer businesses most commonly is because they just were never prompted to. They were never asked. Another way to do it is to create something outrageous, something that's so different from what everyone else is doing. People will talk about it for the fact of it. That's why sometimes these food items, individual dishes in restaurants, just make that restaurant explode onto the scene because it's different enough to bring it to life.
Controversy creates traffic.
Controversy is very interesting. And there's a couple of bars, for example, that will serve you cocktails, not for $30, not for $50, but for $15,000 because it comes with a diamond necklace in the glass. Something so ridiculous and over the top.
Diamonds are organic.
That's true. Certainly made of carbon. Now, this is over the top. They may sell one, they might not sell any, but the fact that they have it puts them on the map and is something worth talking about. It was started by some of the nightclubs in Las Vegas, actually, that first did that.
But if they did that and they kind of went, look, here's a whole new menu we're thinking of putting out. We're going to have an afternoon where we're going to test everything. You vote on it, you tell us what you think, and then you create a community of would you like to contribute a recipe that we might be able to use, and then it gets named after you. It's about creating a following and a brand that's much where people get invested. They actually come along and go, you know what? I'm so invested in this, it's fantastic.
That 9 minutes went really quickly.
That was fast.
All right, let me wrap that up for you really quickly then. So, look, the question started about differentiation, but we know the game in your industry is really about loyalty. Make sure you're building loyalty, make sure you're building advocacy.
And the community was the next bit we went to.
And the community was the most important bit there. Do everything you can, go through the journey from the perspective of your customers and bring it all to life. And that should give you a pretty good start there. Yep. So, thank you so much for your question. Now, this is Stump the Strategist. You do get to vote whether we were stumped or passed, whether there was something useful in that for yourself and for other cafes out there, or whether, quite frankly, we fell in a ditch and didn't have much to say at all.
Did we go down the sink in the cafe?
So, that poll's going to come up on your screen. The lovely Dave is putting it on your screen in just a moment. Please vote whether we were passed or whether we were stumped. This is the high wire part of the act. We don't know which side of it we're going.
And there's no net. Well, there is the net. That's what they're interacting on.
Hey, Ivan, I've got some good news for you.
What's that?
100% passed.
Oh, wacko! Well done. Thank you very much, folks.
Thank you so much for that. Great. All right, so we've got time for one more question.
We've got a question from the audience here.
Yep, great. Okay. Now, this is the last question for the year.
Ooh.
But look, we're not going away. The guys
Jingle
here don't take holidays.
No.
Ivan doesn't take holidays. We're not letting Dave even have a day off over Christmas. So if you do want to get in touch, talk about some of the answers we've talked through here, or just have your own private Stump the Strategist session, do get in touch with us. I'm Adam Long, this is Ivan Frangi, and we'd be more than happy to do that. So the lovely Dave has a question for us. Dave, what have we got? Who's this from?
So this is from James Lawrence.
James, thank you for your question.
Where's he from? thewebshowroom.com. The web showroom. So here's the question, guys.
Yeah.
So we're a Sydney-based digital marketing and website development agency.
Yeah.
To date, our marketing efforts have been used to chase clients across almost all verticals of the business, online and offline, micro biz to corporates, B2B and B2C.
Yeah.
We know we need to segment better. Our research says our best clients are unsexy, unquotes, established, mid-size. Digital is important to them but not vital, and a slant towards service providers over products,
Yeah.
which is the slant of B2B over B2C.
Mm-hmm.
So the question is, how would you go about developing a value proposition for us?
Yeah.
Our space is heavily crowded. We've won lots of awards and have great case studies with a large team of fantastic staff, but we don't feel this is enough to make us stand out from the rest.
Yeah, sure.
And you're right.
Okay, so that's a nice and clear question. James from webshowroom.com, I'll give you a bit of a shout out. Guys, go and check out Web Showroom. Now, this is part of the Highwire Act as well, Ivan, so people online will be checking out Web Showroom as we speak. We're going to do our best to build you a strategy based on that question alone. The question was, how do we build a value proposition for our digital marketing and website development company? We've got 9 minutes on the clock. You ready, Ivan? Let's take it away.
Okay. I think you've got an issue here with three things. Profile, information and expertise. What's your profile in this market? And that's part of the question, the information and the expertise. But as far as I can see, what's happening in this, and look, we all go to these marketing functions and networking things, and it seems to me that every second person has a digital agency of some sort. And so the question is, where do you stand out? And I think a lot of people are going too broad, and it sounds like you've gone very broad in what you were talking about. You had a lot of different places you were working at. I'd want to know where your sweet spot is. So my question to you is, if somebody comes through the door and they're an ideal client, the question I'd like to ask you is, what are they? They walk through the door and you go, you know what, you are a business which is a service provider in law, accounting, consultancy services, I don't know what it is, but this is what we do for you. So you start big, okay? So you start big and you go, here is the area, and then you go, here is the kind of product type, and then you go, here is the actual thing that we aim at. And what you've got to do is, if you take it down that way, it's much easier to market here than there, because up here there is a lot of noise. Everybody's up there. Nobody can hear you.
Yeah, the noise is the real issue for you here, because there's not just your business, there's the 5 or 6 emails that most business owners get every day from providers in subcontinent countries saying, hey, found you online, would love to sell digital services to you. And this is the challenge, James, that you're coming up against all these other people. You're coming up against the millions of branded messages that people are seeing every single year. So your value prop's really got to sum up one thing that really matters for you. And that's what Ivan was talking about when you're getting really specific there. Challenge is, most businesses in your category do what we call the more shit than a show bag approach to marketing. They say, yeah, we do websites and we do payment portals and we do logins and we do social and we do digital marketing, and it goes on and on and on. It's like, wait, what do you do again? I just wanted to get some customers in the door because our website doesn't look great, or whatever it is. So your challenge is not to stop doing all the things that you're doing. Your challenge is to pick one and elevate it. Give it a marketing position that's elevated, so that's the thing that you stand for. Because we need to answer a question so that people, when they hear about you, say either, oh yes, you're exactly who I need, or I don't need you right now, but I know someone who needs exactly what you do. That's the level of clarity that we've got to get to. So we actually have a process for developing value propositions that's really quite helpful at cutting out all this noise and cutting out all the things that you do. And it starts by auditing all the things that you do and all the things that you could be saying about your business. We call these features. Features are the things that provide value to customers. It's things like the awards you've got, the number of staff you've got, the things that you do. You go through and you want to be auditing. There should be a few hundred things you can say that are worthwhile about your business. You want to expand them out into what's the benefit for the customer that comes from that, and then what's the implication. Now, this is the thing that most marketers miss. What changes in your customer's life? What's now possible that wasn't possible before? Now, you'll fill out this tool by the feature, which is very specific. We've got 20 staff, we've won 16 awards. You will develop its implications, but then you talk the other way. So, to give you an example of another service industry. So we developed one for an accounting firm, and theirs was the feature was we have senior people working on every part of the project. Benefit was you're not talking to the work experience kid. Implication is things change when you make a call. You always work with the grown-ups. So we said, right, let's make a guarantee around that. And we called it the grown-up guarantee. We guarantee you'll only ever work with a senior person in our business. You won't be left waiting for a call back from the work experience kid. Now, wrapping those all together like that is fundamentally a different proposition to every other accounting firm out there. So be looking for what are the things that you can then create as features of your business, because sometimes you need to innovate in order to differentiate your business. It's not enough to have awards. It's not enough to have expert staff. It's not enough to have quality outcomes. Sometimes you need to innovate. You need to look at things like guarantees and service propositions that you can get there. Look, once you've audited all these things, the things that matter is how important is it to your customer really, and then where do you have an advantage against your competitors. The things where you and you alone are the only ones that do it, that's the messages you want to be talking about. Not how long you've been in business, not the number of awards you've won, unless you're the only person who have won a particular award. What are the things that your business and your business alone can talk about?
Okay, when we're talking about service firms, and you're marketing to a business that actually understands this, so let me kind of give you what happens. I was working recently with a group of lawyers, and I've got to work with them again in Melbourne in January. And here's the issue. You go to a law firm and you go, law firm. And the problem is, it's too hard. Same thing for you. What do? We're a digital agency. We do websites and digital marketing. So here's what the customer sees. The customer sees, how do I understand that and what kind of experience am I going to get? So let me give you an example of how this works. If you looked at a supermarket, in a supermarket you'd go, I want to go to the aisle of a particular product I'm after. Once I go to the aisle, I'm going to go to the category. Once I go to the category, I'm going to choose this particular product. So let me run this for you and use an example. Let's say you want to go to the dairy aisle. That would be the big thing. Like, that's your business. You have a digital agency. Then you want to find the milk, which is the category that you're after. And then what you're going to do is you're going to say, well, maybe out of the milk I'm going to choose organic. Here's the problem. Most people are marketing here instead of choosing this and then running that back up. I hope that makes sense. What it means is we are experts in organic milk. And in other words, we're experts in, let's say, Facebook marketing. Now, I'm guessing that you have some experts in your market, in your business, who are the Facebook experts, the LinkedIn experts, the help me with this because it's more your space.
Digital changes every day.
Changes. Well, in other words, you've got experts in particular areas that your customers would love to hear from, but you're marketing up here in the aisle, not down here in the product. Make these people the heroes, and then get them to produce good content which goes out that's really valuable, and people will go back and say, I want to speak to the adult in there who does this bit. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Okay.
It's a good point. So another area I want to explore for you goes back to this idea of implications and what changes for your customer, what's now possible that wasn't possible before. One of the ways to prompt for this is think, what are the pain points for your category? Because, well, let's face it, digital agencies, web development companies are known for some things that just always seem to go wrong with a project. That, the work gets ended up being done overseas, so there's no quality control. It's confusing. The price changes. We set a budget up front, we end up spending double because when we hit the budget, we still don't have something up and running. Or it just feels hard to get anything up and running. If you can make any of this pain go away through a guarantee or a way you structure your service, for example, price changes. Can you guarantee a price? Now, I get that in your industry you can't do that until you fully understood the scope required from your customer. So can you charge a gateway product, have a gateway session with your clients where you get really clear on the scope, charge for it, put a value on it because it is your time, it is valuable, and use that to guarantee a price.
So can I just piggyback on that really fast? This is what happens to people, and I think this is a major problem when we're looking at digital agencies, because the buyers go, who do I buy? It's a bit like going back to your supermarket and saying, I've got this shopping list. I need milk, bread, eggs, I need baked beans, and there's too much of a stuff down here. So when they're going up here, they go what's my shopping list? How do I coordinate the shopping list? I think, and this is my view, the major opportunity in this space is you don't know what you need down here, so we're going to choreograph your shopping list for you, so that your shopping list, we will manage it for you to get the outcome. So you tell us the outcome, and then we'll tell you what to put in your shopping basket. Because most people in business don't know.
Great. And with 30 seconds to go, let's see if we can get this one in the 9 minutes. So, you want to start not by talking about everything that you do, but auditing all the things you could be saying to your customers. Get clear on what changes in your customer's life and make sure you've matched it with a reason to believe, which is the feature that exists there. Talk about what's important to your customers and what's different for you. Innovate to differentiate if you need to. Make the pain go away. Don't talk at the top level, talk down at the product level. Make it really clear. Make it easy for your customers, and that'll give you a good start. Hey,
We did it. Well done. Okay.
Great. James, thank you so much for your question, and you can jump online and email myself or Iven to follow up. More than happy to have a chat afterwards. Thank you so much for your question.
I feel like Indiana Jones stepping out onto that thing, will they vote?
Let's find out. Dave is going to put the poll up on your screen right now.
Already got some feedback. Great. Thanks so much. Great stuff.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's
awesome.
good, but where's the poll?
The only thing that matters is, of all the people online, how did we go? Were we passed? Were we stumped? We'll just give that a second to come on up.
And here we go, boys.
Woo. And it's a unanimous passing.
Well done. Thank you very much.
Done.
Excellent stuff.
We high five around here, Iven.
I'm right there with you. I'm a bit older than you. It takes me a while to figure it out.
So, thank you so much for joining us. We hope we solved some of your challenges that have been bugging you today. We'll be back next year every 2 weeks on a Wednesday. If you'd like to sign up for that, you can visit us at stumpthestrategist.com. We'll have Iven back again next year. The regular faces with the same old gags that you're used to hearing from all our step change guys.
We don't need new gags, just new people to tell them to.
It's called sustainable jokes. You just reduce, reuse and recycle. So looking forward to joining you again next year. Do give us a call, get in touch if you'd like to talk about any of these or how we can give you a hand with your business. In the meantime, have a fantastic holidays and a fantastic Christmas.
Thank you.
Just give them a reminder the content's going to be posted next week.
Reminder before we finish. Yes.
Dave, our off-screen angel here, has reminded us everything you've seen today will be posted on the Stump The Strategist website, where you can also find access to some of the previous questions we've answered, including, as we go through all 113 of them, the massive amount of strategies we built during that 24-hour Stump.
And you can search them because they're tagged.
They will be. They sure will be.
Choose your challenge, find the answer.
Thank you so much. All right, have a fantastic week and a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. See you later.
Bye.